For the first time in more than 25 years, Woody Allen's wife, Soon-Yi Previn, breaking her silence about their relationship. It's made headlines for years.
Few relationships in Hollywood history have drawn as much controversy and scrutiny as that of Soon-Yi Previn and Woody Allen. What began as a shocking revelation in the early 1990s evolved into a decades-long story shaped by love, conflict, and resilience. Their relationship challenged public expectations and sparked debates about family, loyalty, and personal choice. Behind the headlines lies a deeply human story. After years of silence, Soon-Yi has begun sharing her perspective, offering insight into her past, her marriage, and the emotional realities often overshadowed by public judgment and speculation. The scandal that shook Hollywood. In 1992, a revelation sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the global public. A secret relationship unlike any the entertainment world had seen before. The acclaimed director Woody Allen, known for his distinctive voice and cinematic genius, was discovered to be involved with Soon-Yi Previn, the adopted daughter of his longtime partner, Mia Farrow.
And we're talking about Soon-Yi Previn. She's the adopted daughter of Mia Farrow and Andre Previn, opening up now about her relationship with Woody Allen.
This unexpected connection challenged deeply held social norms and ignited a firestorm of judgment and disbelief. Yet, beyond the sensational headlines, the truth was layered with complexities that defied simple explanations. The timing of this revelation only intensified its impact. Woody Allen was in a relationship with Mia Farrow for over a decade, but it was during this period that his connection with Soon-Yi quietly began. The relationship remained hidden long enough to cause a profound sense of betrayal once exposed, fracturing the family and altering public perception of all involved. People struggled to reconcile the image of the celebrated filmmaker with the scandal that now dominated news cycles. What made the situation even more astonishing was the age and family dynamics at play. Soon-Yi, initially known as Mia Farrow's adopted daughter, was young, just entering adulthood, as their closeness developed. The overlap of familial roles, trust, and romantic involvement created a roller coaster of emotions and controversies, with many questions left unanswered at the time. Curiosity and condemnation blended in the rush to understand what had truly happened behind closed doors. Woody Allen's reaction to the news through his silence created a powerful impact. He selected silence as his response to the accusations, which resulted in people guessing about him during that time. The public and media during this period created their own explanations for the situation, which resulted in divided views about consent and power and ethical standards. The absence of sound created an atmosphere of uncertainty, which transformed the tale from a personal family issue into a national cultural crisis. Soon-Yi ended up in a situation where she had to face public attention, which she did not want to experience. The world's eyes were fixated on her, often casting her in a negative light for her involvement with Allen. Despite being an adult at the time the relationship began, many critics painted her as a manipulated figure, while others saw her as a symbol of defiance or scandal. The public examination of her life during this time period made her early adult years harder to handle, because people watched her constantly. The scandal had personal consequences far beyond the public eye. The relationship between Mia Farrow and Woody Allen ended after their engagement, which led to a breakdown of their family structure. Custody disputes and legal battles followed, fueled not only by the relationship revelation, but also by other serious allegations within the family. The private aspects of life turned into a public spectacle, where love, power, and pain created an exceptional situation. The investigation sought to uncover answers about Soon-Yi's personal experiences, which included her views on consent and the emotional truths she experienced during the media coverage of her story. The public only learned the answers after multiple years because public silence and social condemnation had buried them. The story contained complex elements that needed to be revealed through its complete progression. The initial shock of the event created changes that affected both the people involved and the larger discussion about family connections, personal limits, and shared duties. The scandal produced a domino effect, which forced viewers to face difficult realities about romantic relationships and power dynamics which define those relationships. The situation created a personal story that became known to everyone through its public exposure. The family background, especially Soon Yi's upbringing, casts an important light on how such a controversial relationship could emerge and endure. A childhood shaped by control. Soon Yi Previn's childhood was far from ordinary, shaped by the strict and often harsh environment created by her adoptive mother, Mia Farrow. Although Mia was a celebrated actress and humanitarian, her household operated under intense control and discipline, especially toward the adopted children. Soon Yi described a childhood where she was treated more like a servant than a daughter, burdened with exhausting chores from dawn till dusk. This atmosphere left deep emotional wounds that would influence her later decisions and relationships. The daily demands on Soon Yi often went beyond typical family expectations. She was responsible for ironing bed sheets, shopping, cleaning, washing dishes, and performing countless other duties tirelessly. The relentless workload left little room for childhood freedom or self-expression. These chores, while seemingly mundane, became symbols of a broader emotional distance and lack of warmth from Mia. They contributed to a feeling of invisibility and invisibility within the very family she belonged to. The incidents of cruelty that Soon Yi documented proved to be more disturbing than anything else she experienced.
Soon Yi Previn describing her adoptive mother, Mia Farrow, as vengeful and abusive.
Soon Yi also said that Mia was abusive to her, would make her do housework, and was incredibly rude and mean.
Mia would use physical punishment techniques to discipline her, which included flipping her down onto the ground with a foot and inflicting blood injuries. The officers wrote offensive words directly onto her arm, which forced her to wear long sleeves to conceal the evidence of their writing. The effects of that treatment created lasting impressions that remained with him because they treated him that way. The school evaluation system created extra stress for her. When Soon Yi did not meet Mia's expectations, she received public punishment, which included her being called hurtful names and facing threats of institutionalization because of alleged mental health issues. The punishments she received from her mother exceeded standard maternal discipline practices because they showed a household operating with permanent fear and anxiety instead of showing affection. Soon Yi developed weak self-esteem and identity problems because of that environment, which affected her ability to understand love and acceptance. Woody Allen started to show himself through his silent presence, which kept him away from his residence during that entire time. Yi had trouble understanding the reasons behind Mia's high opinion of him. She started to build emotional connections through basketball games after she reached her mature age. Allen created a friendly environment through his polite behavior, which enabled Soon Yi to achieve her first experience of being valued. Allen treated her differently from Mia and all other people who entered her life. He did not use force or deceitful tactics to control her, but he demanded that she accept her status as an independent adult. The two of them developed their bond through spending time together while they explored their common interests, which Soon Yi needed to feel emotional protection. The relationship developed between them structured itself through her expectation of respect and recognition from him because she had not encountered these things before. This dynamic shows complexity because it brings together two adult figures who have distinct personalities. Mia Farrow showed her love through conditional affection, which led to her punishment of him, while Woody Allen provided her with genuine warmth and caring support that boosted her self-esteem. The two opposing forces of Soon Yi's internal conflict created her decision-making difficulties which she experienced throughout her journey into adulthood and romantic relationships. The family structure itself was far from typical. Mia Farrow maintained an unconventional household, which included her adopted and biological children and their tense relationships. Woody Allen participated in raising Mia's children, who he never formally declared to be his own. Understanding this background helps to grasp why Soon-Yi would later defend her relationship and assert her agency despite widespread condemnation. Woody Allen's complex relationships. Woody Allen's personal life has long drawn public attention, shaped by relationships that often challenged conventional expectations. Before his involvement with Mia Farrow and her family, Allen had already experienced 2 marriages, first to Harlene Rosen and later to actress Louise Lasser. Both were relatively short-lived, contributing to a perception that his personal relationships were as complicated as the characters in his films. Despite his creative success and intellectual reputation, his romantic life often appeared unstable and unconventional. One of Allen's most significant early relationships was with actress Diane Keaton. Their partnership lasted several years and became both personally meaningful and creatively influential. Keaton's presence shaped some of Allen's most celebrated films, and their collaboration left a lasting mark on his career. Yet, like many of Allen's relationships, it did not lead to marriage. Their connection reflected his tendency toward deep emotional bonds paired with reluctance toward traditional commitment. In 1979, Allen met Mia Farrow at a Manhattan restaurant, beginning a relationship that would last more than a decade. Their partnership combined romance, artistic collaboration, and family life in an unusual way. Farrow became a central figure in Allen's creative work, appearing in 13 of his films. At the same time, their personal arrangement remained unconventional. They never married and maintained separate homes throughout their relationship. Allen continued living in his Manhattan apartment, while Farrow raised her large family on the Upper West Side and at a Connecticut estate. This distance reflected both Allen's skepticism about marriage and Farrow's complex history with previous relationships. Despite the physical separation, Allen became involved in the lives of several of Farrow's children, though he never legally adopted them, including Soon-Yi. During the 1980s, their family expanded further with additional adoptions and the birth of their biological son, Ronan, in 1987. The blended household was affectionate in some ways, but also marked by emotional complexity and ambiguity. Allen's paternal involvement existed alongside boundaries that were never clearly defined, contributing to a family structure that was both close and uncertain. The decade's latter half brought silent tension that developed between different groups. Allen withdrew from social life while his hidden disputes began to show through the facade of peace. The couple maintained their professional relationship because they wanted to keep their public image intact, yet their bond started to break down. Allen established himself as both an attractive yet divisive personality through his dating history because his choices did not match what society expected from him. His relationships with others blended together 3 elements, which included artistic expression, deep emotional bonds, and non-traditional relationship structures. This pattern guarantees understanding of what would unfold during the following events. Allen developed his romantic connection with Soon-Yi through his existing relationships and his unique understanding of romantic partnerships and family life. The existing relationship dynamics created an environment that enabled Hollywood and the general public to experience an unprecedented revelation. Soon-Yi and Allen's secret relationship would soon confront the harsh glare of public scrutiny, changing their lives forever. The relationship emerges in secret. By the early 1990s, the relationship between Woody Allen and Soon-Yi Previn had begun to deepen away from the public eye. What started as quiet companionship during outings and conversations gradually turned into a romantic involvement, even as Alan remained publicly linked to Mia Farrow. Their connection was kept tightly under wraps, concealed by a web of secrecy and careful denials. For many, the notion was unfathomable. Alan, the much older man and partner of Soon-Yi's adoptive mother, entering a relationship with her. Soon-Yi was around 21 years old, a college student at Drew University, and increasingly stepping into her own adulthood. This shift in her life coincided with the secret development of this controversial bond. She began dressing differently, projecting confidence and independence, behaviors that sometimes masked the complexity of her private world. To the outside, it might have appeared as mere youthful rebellion, but in truth, it was a signal of transformation shaped by deep, hidden ties. Woody Allen, then in his mid-50s, and Soon-Yi quietly met in his Manhattan penthouse, sharing moments that defied public expectations and social norms. According to Allen himself, their first intimate encounter was a terrible mistake he could not resist, acknowledging the situation's moral weight. Yet, despite the gravity, both chose to continue forward, stepping into uncharted and controversial territory. The secrecy surrounding their relationship heightened the tension within the household and the family circle. The secrecy persisted for months, creating a cloud of lies and subterfuge. Soon-Yi often concealed her whereabouts, telling friends she was out with peers while actually meeting Alan. These covert meetings, fraught with risk, underscored the deep divide between their public and private lives. The sense of living a double life weighed heavily on Soon-Yi, caught between loyalty, love, and fear of exposure. The turning point of the story occurred in December 1991, when Mia Farrow visited Woody Allen's home. The discovery of nude Polaroid images showing Soon-Yi proved beyond doubt their relationship to Mia Farrow.
Mia discovers a stack of nude photos of her daughter Soon-Yi taken by Woody. Mia claims that they wouldn't put them in Playboy, they were hustler pictures. Could you imagine how Mia must have felt seeing those photos?
The images created a break that extended beyond the romantic scandal because they destroyed all trust, hope, and family security that had existed between them. The moment brought Mia destruction because she lost everything she had used to create her family. Mia showed an immediate reaction, which included her strong reaction against Alan. She used her anger to break the silence between them because she confronted Alan with the harsh truth. "What have you done to my daughter?" Her voice expressed 3 different emotions through her betrayal, her confusion, and her heartbreak. The family relationship broke apart at that moment, which created a space where people used to show their suffering and mistrust. The confrontation dealt with 2 different issues because it showed how infidelity affected people and went against established social standards of family and morality. The relationship between Woody Allen and Mia Farrow began with mutual consent, according to Allen's explanation of their situation. Mia responded to Alan's plea by cutting all ties and ordering him to stay away from her family. The relationship reached its final endpoint because both partners were unable to restore their previous connection. The couple who once shared their lives now experienced separation through emotional pain, which created a bitter struggle that turned their words into deadly instruments. Soon-Yi established her residence in a Manhattan apartment, which Alan had rented for her, while she cut all ties to Mia and her family. The family moved from a state of uncomfortable coexistence into an atmosphere of hostility and disintegration. Mia wrote a detailed handwritten letter to expose Alan's betrayal, which she shared with her other children to inform them about his actions. The family problems became public when Soon-Yi spent this time in isolation while facing close surveillance. The family's secret relationship, which people kept hidden for many years, now exploded into a situation that affected both the family and the general public. The upcoming months would bring both legal disputes and media excitement, together with personal losses. which would transform all participants in the situation. The fabric of the story interwove multiple elements, which included actual events and fabricated information to create a storyline of love and suffering and scandalous events. From the fractured privacy of family life, a storm erupted that none could escape, and the consequences would redefine the meaning of loyalty and justice. The fallout and custody battle. The revelation of Woody Allen's relationship with Soon-Yi Previn triggered immediate legal and emotional consequences. Mia Farrow, devastated by the discovery, ended her 12-year partnership with Allen and cut off most contact. What had once appeared to be an unconventional but functioning family quickly fractured beyond repair. The conflict extended deeply into the children's lives, who found themselves caught between competing loyalties and painful public scrutiny. In August 1992, shortly after the scandal became public, Woody Allen filed a petition in the New York Supreme Court seeking sole custody of 3 children he considered his own: Dylan, Satchel, and Moses. The move surprised many and intensified public attention. Allen's legal strategy centered on his claim that he had never been a parental figure to Soon-Yi, arguing that he had not lived with Mia Farrow or served as the head of her household. The unusual structure of the family complicated the case and fueled debate. As the dispute escalated, both sides made serious accusations. Allen alleged that Mia Farrow was emotionally abusive, showed favoritism toward her biological children, and fabricated claims of abuse in retaliation for his relationship with Soon-Yi. Farrow strongly denied these accusations, defending her parenting while raising allegations of inappropriate behavior by Allen toward Dylan, her adopted daughter. The conflict soon drew in friends, caregivers, therapists, and relatives, all of whom became witnesses in a highly public legal struggle. The custody trial began in March 1993 and lasted 7 weeks, presided over by Judge Elliot Wilk without a jury. The proceedings were emotionally charged and closely followed by the media. Witness testimony revealed intimate details of family life, often presenting conflicting accounts that made the situation even more complex. The courtroom became the focal point of a deeply personal conflict now unfolding in public view. A pivotal element of the trial was Dylan's testimony accusing Allen of inappropriate conduct during her childhood.
Woody Allen? Is he done? The megastar outed by daughter Dylan, who claims he molested her for years, starting before the tender age of 7.
Additional concerns were raised about Allen's parenting behavior, including boundary issues that troubled the court. At the same time, Allen continued to argue that Mia's treatment of some children, including Soon-Yi and Moses, had been harsh and emotionally damaging. The testimony of family members reflected painful divisions that had developed within the household. The court decision was issued by Judge Wilk in June 1993. The court awarded complete custody of the children to Mia Farrow because she demonstrated herself as a committed mother, according to court findings. The court permitted Allen to visit his children under controlled conditions while he had to pay his legal expenses, which exceeded $1 million. The court prohibited him from adopting specific children. The court ruling that Allen appealed resulted in his defeat during the 1994 court proceedings. The custody dispute created permanent psychological damage, which affected all the parties involved. The family remained split between 2 groups because some children chose to support Farrow, while others chose to defend Allen and Soon-Yi. The psychological and financial burden proved too much to handle, which made reconciliation increasingly unlikely to happen. Soon-Yi experienced public scrutiny, which reached extreme levels during the period of social unrest. She formed a relationship with Allen, but society saw her as either a victim who needed protection or a betrayer who committed treason. Her determination to stay faithful during the scandal showed her complex emotional state. The legal battle ended with the family members losing all their trust because of broken relationships. The conflicts that emerged during this time period created divisions that would continue to affect the lives of all participants for many years. While conflicts, resilience, and unhealed wounds created a legacy that defined their relationship. Between the turmoil and legal strife, the couple's marriage and life after the scandal would reflect a quiet defiance amid continued public judgment. Life after the scandal. After the intense legal battles and family ruptures, Woody Allen and Soon-Yi Previn chose to move forward together, embracing a quieter and more private existence away from the public eye. In 1997, 5 years after the scandal broke, they married in a discreet ceremony in Venice, Italy. This decision shocked many, as the controversy still lingered heavily in the public consciousness. Despite the backlash, their union marked a new chapter defined by commitment and the intent to build a genuine family life. Following their marriage, Allen and Soon-Yi settled in New York City, focusing on cultivating a home far removed from the glare of media scrutiny. The couple consciously limited their public appearances, attending only select artistic events and premieres, always maintaining distance from the spotlight. This low-key lifestyle was a deliberate strategy to protect their family's privacy and to create a space where their relationship could mature away from judgment and gossip. Together, Woody and Soon-Yi expanded their family by adopting 2 daughters, integrating responsibility and a desire for normalcy despite their controversial past. This choice reflected their hope for stability and love outside the realm of scandal. Maintaining a family under constant public criticism was not easy, but it grounded them in shared purpose and mutual support. The adoption also symbolized an effort to reaffirm their life as one rooted in love and care. Over the years, Allen frequently praised Soon-Yi as a disciplined and decisive partner, highlighting her strengths as both a wife and mother. He publicly acknowledged the respect and trust he placed in her, a testament to the enduring bond they forged despite societal condemnation. Their commitment to one another persisted through waves of hostility and gossip, displaying resilience rarely seen in high-profile relationships so burdened by controversy. The public pressure that existed at that time remained present without any signs of reduction. The public scandal, which involved them, continued to connect their names to the scandal, which maintained its presence in both news articles and public discussions. The audience watched them, which resulted in their past experiences creating a negative impression that followed them throughout the entire event. The couple faced non-stop public criticism, yet they chose to establish their family identity according to their personal beliefs, which they had built together. The public scrutiny proved to be too much for Soon-Yi to handle because her public image changed from a controversial figure to a stable adult who now lives as a mother. She faced multiple instances of public disapproval, which resulted in people attacking her character, which led to her experiencing social withdrawal and developing protective mechanisms against others who treated her with hostility. She defended every choice she made about their relationship, which she showed through her bond with Allen, whom she connected with both voluntarily and emotionally. Their marriage evolved into an exceptional relationship that maintained its existence through more than 40 years of time. The couple established their relationship through difficult times, which resulted in shared moments of joy and laughter and deep respect for each other. Their life together experienced multiple challenges, yet they managed to overcome obstacles that most people would find impossible to comprehend. The period after their marriage saw Allen's professional development and their family's need for privacy existing in a state of fragile equilibrium. Allen's film directing activities continued, but his earlier actions caused his reputation to affect his work relationships and how audiences perceived him. Soon-Yi and the children maintained their distance from public life as they worked to find tranquility during the ongoing disputes. But the challenges of their past would resurface in new ways, especially with shifting cultural attitudes and renewed scrutiny years later. Soon-Yi's recent admission. After decades of silence, Soon-Yi Previn stepped forward in 2025 to share her story in her own words. In a candid interview, she expressed frustration with years of speculation and media narratives that shaped public perception of her life. Speaking calmly but firmly, she explained her desire to reclaim her voice and clarify misunderstandings that had followed her for decades.
And when we look at Mia's home, we do see that there may indeed be a pattern of abuse. It's not just Dylan and Soon-Yi. Thaddeus, Tam, and Lark appear to have suffered as well.
Soon-Yi described a difficult childhood marked by emotional neglect in Mia Farrow's household. She recalled feeling more like a helper than a daughter, responsible for constant chores and subject to strict discipline. Beyond these challenges, she spoke about experiences that left lasting emotional wounds. These reflections provided context for her upbringing and the sense of isolation she often felt growing up. Addressing her relationship with Woody Allen, Soon-Yi emphasized that it began when she was an adult capable of making independent decisions. She rejected portrayals of herself as a victim, stating that their relationship was consensual and rooted in genuine connection. She also clarified that she never considered Allen a father figure, instead viewing him as a partner who understood her emotionally. Soon-Yi confirmed that Mia Farrow and Andre Previn were her biological parents, while she rejected the public perception that Allen had become her father. She established that her decisions resulted from her individual power to choose, instead of any external force that attempted to manipulate her during the controversy through her professional demands. She claimed that public examination during her entire life resulted in severe psychological damage. Soon-Yi experienced social rejection because of her relationship, which forced her to battle against feelings of loneliness. She claimed that her relationship with Allen provided her with security, which helped her to understand and experience happiness throughout her challenging moments. She described Allen as her emotional foundation, who assisted her in facing her old traumas while she discovered her sense of belonging. Her recollections disclosed her dual emotional experience, which displayed how people can simultaneously experience love and suffering through complex relationships. The Farrow family continues to experience internal strife, according to Soon-Yi, because different family members present contradictory versions of historical events that continue to affect public opinion about the family. The existing conflicts create a barrier to reconciliation, while multiple aspects remain undefined. Soon-Yi brought her personal viewpoint, which helped to develop her character in a narrative that had been previously controlled by external forces. From their enduring marriage to Soon-Yi's candid admission, the story resists simple conclusions. It raises questions about power, choice, and identity, inviting reflection on love, public judgment, and the complexity of personal truth beyond headlines. Legacy and lessons learned. The story of Soon-Yi Previn and Woody Allen remains one of the most controversial narratives in Hollywood history, challenging deeply held ideas about love, family, consent, and personal choice. Their relationship defied social expectations and sparked difficult public conversations about boundaries, judgment, and autonomy. At its core, the story reflects human complexity, emotion, resilience, and the struggle to define one's life amid intense scrutiny. Their marriage, lasting more than 3 decades, resists simple interpretation. Despite widespread criticism, they chose to build a private life together, demonstrating how commitment can endure even under constant public attention. Their experience raises enduring questions about how much influence society should have over personal relationships that fall outside accepted norms. The fractured Farrow family legacy adds another layer of difficulty. Mia Farrow's children present 2 different accounts, which demonstrate their ongoing emotional distress and their individual personal experiences, which led to their different family-based perspectives. The situation shows how public scandals can deepen private wounds and prolong family divisions across generations. Soon-Yi's decision to speak publicly about her life offers a more personal dimension to the story. Her perspective demonstrates that she is more than a controversial person because her life experiences have guided her to seek independence. Through her vocal work, she establishes an empathetic connection with others while demonstrating that established beliefs about her should not be maintained. Woody Allen's artistic work has created ongoing discussions about whether people should divide an artist's work from their personal life. His films still receive recognition, even as criticism of his personal life persists. This tension reflects broader cultural questions about accountability, forgiveness, and creative legacy. The story demonstrates how public assessment of others conflicts with the basic rights of individuals, which helps people understand that actual human existence does not match the simple portrayal shown in news stories. The story of Soon-Yi and Woody Allen reflects how complicated real life can be behind the headlines, where pain, personal choice, controversy, and lasting commitment can exist all at once. It challenges us to look beyond simple narratives and remember that understanding often begins with empathy rather than judgment. If this story made you think differently, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep-dive stories that explore the human side of complex moments. And watch the next video on your screen to continue the conversation.